One of the things people talk about is like, how do you build a deck? And so one of the things I always tell people is like there are some kind of key things we always do. So like we're demoing the existing deck. We're installing a ledger board. We flash behind on top of it. We only use like the highest quality #1 yellow pine. We have to dig foundations at least 3 feet deep for frost lines. Sometimes if it's a deck 30 feet in the air, we got to go 8 feet deep, depending on local codes or local towns that we're in. And so when it comes to framing a deck, the most important thing is understanding where we're building and what are the local laws and restrictions. What does a homeowner want us to build? Okay, because sometimes we have to do above and beyond things based on the design. Or are we framing to put a roof structure on top? Are we framing to put a pergola on top? Or is this deck 8 inches off the ground and, you know, we could frame it in 6 hours and it's really easy? And so there's no one right or wrong way to frame a deck. It needs to be very specific to the homeowner's wants and desires, as well as local building codes. Because if we're gonna build your deck, we want it to last 50 years, not 8 years. But when you think about building a deck that lasts, again, there are a couple things that are super important, okay? So one is understanding where you're building it, what are the rules, what are the requirements. We pull permits when we build decks. The city comes out and inspects it. And it's really important for us to understand the nuances of every local building code. A lot of that's driven by what the homeowner's wants are. And so like, we give lifetime warranty on workmanship. So we're not interested in taking on any project where we're gonna sacrifice any integrity of the product. And there's a lot of times it's not a good fit with a homeowner because what they're looking for, can you come just kind of fix what we have? Well, no, like if it's installed incorrectly to code and it's unsafe, like we're not going to take the liability to put your family at risk, okay? And so when we talk about building a deck and a frame that's gonna last, it's really important to understand where we're building and what you want. From there, it's super important to actually flash the ledger board, dig the right size piers, use only the highest quality framing structure. For the frame, we use tape over the actual joist to keep water from sitting there and wreaking havoc on top of the deck. We make sure that there's airflow so the deck can dry out. Those are some of the key things you kind of always have to do. But it all goes back to before we could build the proper deck, it's where are we building it and make sure we follow local building codes. And for you, the homeowner, what are your wants and desires? Not even say maybe down the road. Do you want to potentially add a roof structure later? Well, then we have to frame it for it now because you can't just, you'd have to get a whole new deck later. So it's so important to understand what kind of deck you want and the size of deck you want and where you're building it. And then we find the best way to build what you want affordably, but also meet code that's going to last 50 years.